Hello, great minds. Welcome to our lesson number 2 this trimester. In this lesson, we are going to be looking at exercise 15 in our quantitative reasoning book. We are going to be working on Roman numerals and basic operation. Now, we need to look at our basic Roman numeral symbols to help us recall what we did last trimester. First, let's look at the symbol of 1. The Roman symbol for number 1 is I. For 5 is V. For 10 is X. For 50 is L. For 100 is C. For 500 is D. And then 1000 is M. And so, we also recall that when we try to get a number close to any of these symbols, we do a systematic subtraction. For example, let's look at the following. If, for example, we want to look at the value of 4, we know 4 is 5 minus 1. So that is going to be V minus I. V minus I. Let's take that again. 4 is the same thing as 5 minus 1. And that is V minus I. Alright? V minus I. And so when we are writing this in Roman numeral, because we are subtracting I from V, the I comes to the left side of V. So 4 is IV. So the same way, 40 is written as XL. That is 50 minus 10. So we should try to remember this theory is going to help us in solving question 1 to 10 in this exercise. Okay? Alright, now let's go back to our first example for this lesson. Now, when you look at the symbol we have here, or the shape rather we have here today, we have a semi-round shape at the middle with line on both sides stretching out to a symbol. For example, in the first example, when we look at the first example, we have I here, which represents 2, and I here, which represents 1. In the middle, we have I, which is a 2. So it means when we multiply the number at the extreme ends, we get the number at the middle. That is 2 times 1 gives a 2. Now, let's look at the second shape or example. At the end, we have here, we have a 2, that's II. Now, at this other end, we have IV, which is a 4. So, to get the number at the middle, remember, we multiply the numbers at the extreme ends. So that means 2 times 4. That gives us 8. And so 8 is written as V, I, I, I. So this is how we are going to solve each of these questions from 1 to 10. For example, in the first question, you have a V here and 2I here. Now, what does 2I represent? Can you guess? Or do you know it? Yes, it's 2. And this one on the left hand side, V, represents 5. Yes. So when we multiply 2 by 5, we get a 10. And 10 must be written in Roman numeral. And 10 in Roman numeral is X. So the missing symbol here is therefore X. So this is how these Roman numeral questions are done. So we should try and answer question 1 to 10. Okay, now let's look at the second question or example here. Now in the second example, we have an S, a Q. The S has 24 on top, 4 at the back. Q is equal to 6. So how are these numbers related? Well, if you ask me, when we divide the number at the top of the S, which is 24, by 4, we get a 6. Yes, we get a 6. So, if I am asked to therefore find what is missing here, I simply divide 54 by 18, and that gives me a 3. In the same way, to know what is here, I simply divide 64 by 16, and that gives me a 4. Alright? Now, that is how we get the Q. But how do we get back 4 or 24? For example, to get 24, when I'm giving 4 and 6, I simply multiply 4 by 6. And when I do that, I get a 24. In the same way, if I want to get 54, I simply multiply 18 by 3. Alright? So 18 times 3 gives us 54. And also, if I multiply 16 by 4, I'll get 64. Alright, finally, how can we therefore get the 4? To get the 4 or number on that side, we simply divide. So that means we divide 24 by 6. So 24 divided by 6 is 4. So the same way, when you divide 54 by 3, you get an 18. Divide 64 by 4, then you will get 60. So we can decide to find any of the numbers, whether the 24, the 6, or the 4. What we just need to remember is how to get them. Remember, to get 24, you multiply 4 by 6. To get a 6, you divide 24 by 4. And then, to get 4, you divide 24 by 6. Alright, as you can see, this is not difficult at all. We can use this method to answer question 1 to 10. So, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Answer the questions in your book, and we'll see you in the next class.